The vast, unforgiving expanses of the global wilderness have always held a profound, almost mystical fascination for the human psyche, serving as both a sanctuary for the broken and a crucible for the ultimate test of survival. For generations, cinema has attempted to capture this dual nature of the wild, where the majestic beauty of untouched landscapes contrasts sharply with the brutal, indifferent reality of nature forces. It is in these remote corners of the earth, far removed from the comforting noise and artificial structures of modern civilization, that the human spirit is stripped down to its barest essentials. When a person ventures into the deep woods or the frozen north, they are often not just running toward adventure, but running away from something deeply buried within themselves. The silence of the wilderness acts as a mirror, forcing an individual to confront the ghosts of their past, the echoes of their regrets, and the lingering trauma that society's ordinary routines attempt to mask. It is a cinematic trope as old as storytelling itself, yet its power never wanes because it speaks to a fundamental truth about our existence, which is that we never truly know who we are until everything else is stripped away. To fully immerse ourselves in these epic tales of human endurance and emotional reckoning, it is essential to stay connected with the stories that challenge our perceptions, and if you find yourself captivated by these deep narratives, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an exploration of cinema's greatest journeys as we look at the landscape of contemporary filmmaking. There is a palpable anticipation that builds when a celebrated creative force decides to abandon the glitz and glamour of conventional narratives to dive into something raw, unpolished, and fundamentally gritty. The cinematic world thrives on transformation, on the willingness of established icons to completely shed their carefully crafted personas and disappear into characters that are battered by life, scarred by tragedy, and pushed to the absolute brink of psychological and physical collapse. This kind of creative evolution is rare, as it requires a profound level of dedication and a willingness to embrace vulnerability in its most visceral form. For decades, audiences have grown accustomed to a certain standard of cinematic storytelling, where the protagonists are often shielded by the conventions of traditional heroism, but every so often, a project emerges that promises to shatter these expectations completely. This upcoming cinematic venture, which has already begun to generate an immense wave of intrigue across the global entertainment community, is not merely a tale of physical survival in a hostile environment, but a deeply psychological exploration of what happens when a person who has survived the worst of human conflict seeks solace in the ultimate isolation, only to find that the universe has one more definitive trial waiting for them. The atmospheric tension surrounding this project begins with its setting, a cinematic representation of a legendary frontier known for its breathtaking grandeur and its lethal unpredictability. The frozen northern wilderness has long been romanticized as a place of pristine beauty, where snow-covered peaks touch the sky and endless forests offer a quiet refuge from the chaotic demands of everyday life. However, beneath this serene facade lies an environment that does not forgive mistakes, where a single misstep or an unexpected turn of weather can instantly transform a peaceful retreat into a desperate struggle for existence. Filmmakers have historically used this specific backdrop to amplify the internal conflicts of their characters, using the external cold and isolation to mirror the internal freezing of the human soul after experiencing unspeakable horrors. The upcoming film masterfully taps into this traditional contrast, building an atmosphere of quiet isolation that slowly thickens with underlying tension, preparing the audience for a journey that is as much about navigating the treacherous terrain of the physical world as it is about navigating the dark, fractured corridors of a deeply traumatized mind. What makes this narrative so compelling even before the full details of the plot are laid bare is the creative reunion powering it behind the scenes. A collaboration that carries a substantial weight of artistic expectation based on past cinematic triumphs. When a director known for an uncompromising, visceral approach to storytelling reteams with a legendary performer who has spent decades at the pinnacle of Hollywood, the synergy is bound to create something extraordinary. Their previous collaboration was a masterclass in tension and grit, capturing the claustrophobic, intense reality of historical conflict with a raw honesty that resonated deeply with audiences and critics alike. Now, years later, this creative duo is bringing that same uncompromising energy to a completely different kind of battlefield, one where the enemy is not an opposing army, but the elements themselves and the heavy burden of memory. The anticipation surrounding their reunion is a testament to the power of director-actor chemistry, as audiences recognize that these two creators are uniquely capable of pushing each other to new heights of cinematic realism, ensuring that this upcoming survival drama will be anything but predictable. As the first glimpses of this project begin to circulate, the public reaction has been nothing short of ecstatic, driven by a collective fascination with the extreme physical and emotional transformation undergone by its central figure. In an era where movie star personas are often carefully managed and maintained, the deliberate decision to adopt an appearance that is rugged, weathered, and visibly marked by the scars of a violent past is a powerful statement of artistic intent. Social media platforms and cinematic forums have been buzzing with commentary from fans who are thrilled to see this iconic actor lean into a grungy, beat-up aesthetic that stands in stark contrast to his usual polished image. This enthusiastic response highlights a universal truth about movie audiences, which is that we love to see our cinematic heroes pushed out of their comfort zones, adopting the physical traits of a true survivor who has endured heavy combat and profound personal loss. The visual markers of the character, from the buzz haircut and rugged beard to the intense tattoos and facial scars, serve as an immediate visual shorthand for a lifetime of struggle, instantly drawing the viewer into the character world and setting the stage for an unforgettable cinematic experience that will challenge our understanding of resilience. The veil of mystery surrounding this highly anticipated cinematic event was officially lifted with the release of the first breathtaking trailer, an explosive first look that immediately sent shockwaves through the global entertainment industry and confirmed the project as one of the most daring survival epics of our time. Directed by the visionary David Ayer, whose signature style has always been defined by a gritty, unyielding realism, the film is titled Heart of the Beast, and it promises to deliver an unforgettable cinematic experience. At the center of this intense narrative is the legendary Brad Pitt, who at 62 years old is defying all conventional expectations of a Hollywood icon by delivering a performance that is physically demanding and emotionally exhausting. Ayer and Pitt last collaborated over a decade ago on the critically acclaimed 2014 World War II drama Fury, a film celebrated for its claustrophobic intensity and its uncompromising depiction of the psychological toll of warfare. Their reunion on Heart of the Beast signals a return to that same visceral, hard-hitting storytelling, but translated onto a vastly different canvas, moving away from the crowded battlefields of Europe to the sweeping, isolated, and deceptive grandeur of the northern wilderness, where a different kind of warfare awaits the protagonist. In Heart of the Beast, Brad Pitt completely sheds the polished, charismatic movie star appearance that has captivated audiences for generations, transforming himself entirely into James Belmont, a retired United States Army Special Forces soldier. Belmont is a man carrying the invisible yet agonizingly heavy scars of severe post-traumatic stress disorder, a psychological burden forged in the fires of heavy, relentless combat during his years of elite military service. To visually represent the profound inner turmoil and the violent history of this character, Pitt underwent a radical physical metamorphosis that has left fans absolutely stunned. Gone is the golden boy aesthetic, replaced by a harsh buzz haircut, a thick, rugged beard, intricate tattoos trailing up his neck, and deep, prominent scars etched across his face. This grungy, weathered look is not just a cosmetic choice, but a narrative necessity, serving as a constant visual testament to the trauma and violence that Belmont has endured throughout his life, immediately establishing him as a beat-up military man who has seen the absolute worst of humanity and is constantly fighting to keep his own mind from fracturing completely under the weight of his memories. The gripping narrative of Heart of the Beast begins with a deceptive sense of tranquility, establishing a stark contrast that makes the ensuing chaos all the more jarring for the audience. The freshly released trailer opens with the Army veteran James Belmont attempting to build a fragile peace for himself far away from the triggers of modern society, seeking solace in the seemingly endless, majestic landscapes of the Alaskan wilderness. In these opening moments, we see a softer, more reflective side of the character as he plays in an open field with his magnificent German shepherd, Odin, and shares stories with a male companion by the warmth of a crackling campfire under a vast, starlit sky. These peaceful scenes build a beautiful, atmospheric picture of a man desperately trying to heal his fractured soul through isolation and nature, using the quiet majesty of the frontier to quiet the loud, intrusive echoes of combat that haunt his mind. However, this hard-won peace is shattered in a terrifying, heart-stopping instant when Belmont private airplane suffers a catastrophic mechanical failure, spinning violently out of control and crashing into the middle of nowhere, leaving him stranded deep within a hostile, freezing environment. Following this horrific plane crash, the narrative shifts gears into a relentless, high-stakes battle against time, nature, and the limits of human endurance. As James Belmont finds himself completely cut off from civilization with absolutely no outside help on the horizon. The harsh Alaskan wilderness, portrayed with breathtaking and terrifying realism, ceases to be a sanctuary and instantly transforms into a lethal adversary where sub-zero temperatures, treacherous terrain, and predatory wildlife threaten his survival at every turn. Stranded with severe injuries and minimal supplies, the retired Special Forces soldier must summon every ounce of his military training, discipline, and tactical resourcefulness to map out a perilous path towards civilization. The trailer masterfully builds immense tension as it showcases Pitt's character working tirelessly against the clock, fighting off hypothermia, navigating deep snowdrifts, and overcoming dangerous road bumps that constantly threaten to end his journey before it even truly begins, forcing him to rely on the raw, primal instinct to survive that was forged during his dark days in the military yet. Despite the immense physical dangers posed by the frozen wilderness, Heart of the Beast makes it abundantly clear that the true heart of the story lies in an entirely different kind of struggle, transforming the traditional survival narrative into a deeply moving, psychological exploration of companionship and emotional redemption. James Belmont is not entirely alone in this white hell, as his sole companion throughout this grueling ordeal is Odin, his trusted, retired military combat dog. A fierce and loyal German shepherd that Belmont helped raise and train while they were both serving in the army. The bond between this broken man and his extraordinarily intelligent dog forms the emotional backbone of the entire film, as they must rely on each other implicitly to navigate the physical hazards of the landscape. While they face numerous life-threatening obstacles on their journey back towards safety, the external journey serves as a powerful metaphor for Belmont's internal battle to confront his past trauma. In the silence of the wilderness, with only his loyal canine partner by his side, Belmont is forced to face the overwhelming guilt, grief, and terror of his combat history, making the film less about merely surviving a plane crash and much more about a broken soldier finding a psychological path back to his own humanity. As the narrative of Heart of the Beast reaches its emotional and physical peak, the profound bond between James Belmont and his loyal German shepherd Odin takes center stage, illustrating how the unconditional love and protective instincts of an animal can become the ultimate catalyst for human salvation. In the most desperate moments of their journey through the frozen wilderness, when physical exhaustion threatens to claim Belmont's life and the dark shadows of his post-traumatic stress disorder threaten to consume his mind, it is Odin who pulls him back from the edge of despair. This extraordinary canine companion is not merely a pet, but a fellow veteran of foreign conflicts, a silent witness to the same horrors that broke Belmont's spirit, creating a deep, unspoken understanding between man and beast that transcends human language. As they navigate through treacherous mountain passes, brave blinding blizzards, and defend themselves against the natural predators of the north, their survival becomes a beautifully synchronized dance of mutual reliance. Every step forward is a victory of shared will, showing the audience that while Belmont may have raised and trained Odin during his time in the Special Forces, it is ultimately Odin who is saving Belmont's life, helping him rebuild his shattered sense of purpose and guiding him out of the literal and figurative darkness that has defined his existence for so many years. The immense emotional depth of this cinematic relationship has not been lost on the public, as fans around the world have taken to social media platforms like Reddit and X to express their overwhelming enthusiasm for this unique pairing, with many hilariously noting that the canine star might just steal the entire show from one of Hollywood's most bankable actors. Enthusiastic viewers have flooded the internet with praise for Pitt's grungy, battle-hardened appearance, celebrating the raw and authentic aesthetic that perfectly captures the essence of a beat-up military man. At the same time, a significant portion of the online conversation has shifted toward the incredible German Shepherd, with fans quoting the famous Hollywood adage that one should never work with children or animals because they inevitably steal the screen. The overwhelming sentiment among the audience is that the incredible chemistry between Brad Pitt and his canine costar will be the defining element of the film. with some movie enthusiasts jokingly suggesting that the dog performance looks so powerful and moving in the trailer that the animal deserves to be a serious contender when the Global Film Awards season rolls around next year. This widespread admiralty for the canine protagonist becomes even more meaningful when looking at the fascinating real-life backstory of the animal actor who portrays Odin on the silver screen. According to an exclusive feature published by GQ magazine, the combat dog is played by a remarkable real-life rescue dog named Uber, who was discovered and trained in New Zealand. Uber's journey from a shelter rescue to a major Hollywood leading role is a heartwarming tale of talent and dedication, reflecting the very themes of redemption and resilience that Heart of the Beast explores on screen. To ensure that the demanding physical production went smoothly and that the animal star was never overworked, a true family affair was created on set, as Uber's 3 biological sons were officially cast as his look-alike stand-ins for the film. This unique arrangement allowed the production team to capture a wide variety of complex action sequences and quiet, emotional moments without compromising the well-being of the animal, resulting in a performance that feels incredibly authentic, seamless, and deeply moving. As the natural instincts of these closely related dogs shine through in every frame, the cinematic magic of Heart of the Beast is further elevated by its spectacular production design and the deliberate choice of its filming locations, which play a crucial role in establishing the film's immersive and unforgiving atmosphere. Although the story is set in the rugged, untamed landscapes of the Alaskan wilderness, the movie was actually filmed entirely on location across the breathtaking, diverse terrain of New Zealand. The dramatic mountains, pristine forests, and sweeping glacial valleys of New Zealand stood in perfectly for the American North, providing a visually stunning backdrop that amplifies the isolation and grandeur of James Belmont's epic struggle. This vast, untouched environment becomes a character in its own right, forcing the actors to confront real environmental elements and bringing an undeniable sense of physical reality to the production. By avoiding heavy reliance on digital green screens and instead placing the cast directly into the elements, director David Ayer ensured that every breath of cold air, every stumble through deep snow, and every moment of awe-inspiring beauty feels completely genuine, transporting the global audience directly into the frozen crucible alongside the heroes to round out this compelling survival drama. David Ayer assembled an exceptional supporting cast of seasoned performers who bring additional gravitas and emotional nuance to the narrative, ensuring that James Belmont's journey resonates on multiple levels. Among the notable costars is the legendary Academy Award winner J.K. Simmons, whose commanding screen presence and immense dramatic range add a layer of seasoned authority to the unfolding story. Likely playing a pivotal figure from Belmont's past or a crucial connection to the outside world that he is desperately trying to reach. Joining them is the incredibly talented rising star Anna Lambay, known for her powerful, authentic performances in independent cinema, who brings a vital perspective and fresh energy to the ensemble. The inclusion of these high-caliber actors ensures that even when the film focuses heavily on the solitary struggle of a man and his dog in the wilderness, the overarching narrative is supported by rich, well-developed characters who ground the story in a wider human context, exploring how the consequences of trauma ripple outward to affect families, friends, and communities. With the global entertainment community buzzing in anticipation, the countdown has officially begun for what promises to be one of the definitive cinematic events of the decade. Heart of the Beast is scheduled to make its highly anticipated debut on September 25, 2026, premiering in theaters worldwide to give audiences the opportunity to experience this epic tale of survival on the largest screens possible. The film release is poised to be a major cultural moment, appealing not only to fans of intense action and survival thrillers, but also to anyone who appreciates deeply human stories about overcoming adversity, the lingering impact of emotional trauma, and the extraordinary life-saving bonds that can exist between humans and animals. As the final notes of the trailer fade and the release